Hi everyone, sorry it's been such a long time between videos, but as we are all in the same position in this world that is new to everyone, there's so much else going on. I've been meaning to come out to the studio and do this video for a long time. I created this a while ago. However, my neighbour decided to put on an extension on their house, so I have had so much noise going on in the backyard, which is where my studio is, that I really couldn't compete with all of the power tools and workmen screaming at each other and dropping big chunks of lumber on the ground, that sort of thing. So I thought, I'll just wait until they're taking a day off, which I hope they're not going to come back, because it's been very quiet this morning, and I thought, well, I'm wasting an opportunity, so here I am. This is my version of Seth Apter's Bento box. That was a workshop I was booked into last year, however it was cancelled. That was one of the first of the workshops that I had booked into that was cancelled. It was really quite a shock to me. However, there have been 3 cancellations of different workshops since then. So it's becoming a bit of the norm now, which is not a good norm. Anyway, this is my version. I originally wanted to get a metal box to put this in, but I couldn't find one. So while I was searching for that, I was collecting other tins and receptacles for these little books that I assumed was like that. I really don't know. The class didn't go ahead, so I'm just sort of making it up as I go along from images that I've seen and different techniques that I've learned also from Seth, either in person in years gone by or on the online. He's done a few classes as well, which has been really good, and I've applied some of those techniques to what is inside these little areas here. So firstly, the actual box is an old document box, you know, that you might have stored in papers, that sort of thing. There was a big clip on this end that would hold your papers down into the box that I pulled out to make room for the rest of these things. And I do have this thing about collecting boxes as well, so I used them in here to separate different bits and pieces, and also to use as a receptacle for books, that sort of thing. So let's get started. Where shall we start? Maybe this one. This is a nice little, I think it's a little not lolly, maybe a cough drops, something like that type of tin, that I didn't bother to do anything to because I thought it had aged rather nice on its own. The beautiful teal colour in the background and all this chipping away and going a bit rusty. I quite liked it. Oh, and it was $6 in a junk shop on a trip that we took to Barossa. Must have been a few years ago now, because we can't go anywhere anymore. Anyway, this is it, and I've just had this rather long piece of dyed, tea-stained rather, card, so it's not lightweight, it's quite robust card that I then folded to fit into this, rounded the corners of each page, and then created a collage sheet or a master sheet. I don't know how that would be, but just so as it would kind of flow. This one did flow. You can see that's one piece of the collage there, but I've cut it and there it is. It doesn't have to match. You can put them all over the place. And what was a technique that I did learn from Seth when we were making some little books that I continued on with. So this is the first one that we're looking at. As soon as my light up there is flashing away. And that was, like I said, a concertina style little thing, and just decorated it with some plaster tape and some foil to stick to it. So different colours in there. That was something I was doing a lot of last year. So maybe this is a bit older than I thought it was. A bit overdue for a video. So that's that one. and I just put a little hole through there so it can just be pulled out quite easily, and a bit of linen, waxed linen thread there to hold it in. So that's that one. I'll leave you out. This is an old cigarette case, I think. I can't even remember where I found this one. Might have just been in my stash that I found a long time ago. So that's that one. And these are just individual little cards, cut to size to fit in there, with different collage. That one's a serviette, I think, on there. It looks a bit lacy. That one's got a serviette. Pop them down there. That's also a bit of tissue, paper, printed tissue over some book text, or book pages rather, and a little bee free there because it's a bird. And this is just against, I think it's just on manila folder or white card, but that's just gathering up some things from the collage box. You know how you have offcuts from other projects? This was a luggage tag that was a bit too long, so I only folded it up and stapled it right on the edge, so it created a little pocket for some extra bits, and that's what that is. And some stitching. And this one, a punch with a paper clip, again too long, so there is a little pocket there. Don't know why there's nothing in it. Maybe it's just waiting for an addition to go in there, and just some pattern paper on the background. Here's another tag that was too long, so rather than cut it off, just folded it up and pop that on there. And the last one, obviously can't have too many in there, it's quite narrow or small, tight, whatever. Again, a little pocket on the bottom, stapled either side after it's been folded up, and some little things stuck on there from tissue paper. So that's that one, and just the inside there decorated with some book page, gesso and some fabric, and a word stuck on some tea bag. That's that one. I'll get rid of that. Now this here, again, as I said, I like to collect boxes. So this is a lot bigger than those two little ones, which is okay. All I did was stick some paper over whatever logo was on there. Can't remember. Anyway, it was a nice box. I couldn't throw it away. So again, this is watercolor paper, I think. That is tea stained and left with a few things left on it while it was drying, so it's created a bit of mark making there, and some big tags made to pop in the pockets, just from whatever paper, and some little decoration on there too. So that's the first one. Been including a bit more machine stitching in my work lately too, and I think that's, well, it's been joined together but stitched to join it. Just a piece on the back and stitched through the machine. So there's a few different things there to include in the box, and the box is quite deep, so they fit quite well with their little extra bits and pieces added to them. This one's got a little fabric, printed fabric thing that was also tea stained. I don't think I've stuck it in yet. And that's the last one there. So that will be stuck to the bottom here. So it'll hold it all in. on that one. So what's that? 3 different book things, and there's again some wax linen thread as a little handle for your pages. You could always decorate the back too, I suppose, but I haven't done that. Leave you out too now. So these are the little books that I did with Seth online. It was a great little class. I can't think of the name of it though. Sorry about that. If I think of it, I will add it to the description in the box. And again, some more plaster tape and some more foil that I've added to the pages here. That one feels a bit, oh no, here we are. And that's, you know, Seth's, I've made some bigger books than this with Seth, but this was, oh, don't stick, there we go. This was really cool because they're so small and you could make, you know, 10 books so quickly. It's just fun. And that's just a scrapbook cover or paper to cover the covers. So that was that one, and here is another, again made online with Seth. I have taken a few photos of this. I think I might be on my Insta, which is also Cable Studio, if you're interested to look there. So these techniques I have applied to a lot of what's going on in here. Just, you know, collaging and making sure they all sort of speak to each other with different things, you know, like the white, some foil. Yeah, good class and great techniques to use in all sorts of different things. I don't think this one's got anything in it, but this one was a tin that my mum gave me, which was so nice. However, it was a bit, you know, shiny and new and polished. So I got some textured paper and covered parts of it in that. I liked the black band that was on the edge of the lid. And then I just rubbed it over with some black ink to pick out the highlights on the textured paper. So that will have something in it at some point that will be very similar to the rest, of course. And another bright shiny tin from Mum. Thanks, Mum. She always saves me things when I ask her. And this one has something in it, but again, covered in textured paper. Although this was a black, this is exactly how it was, this paper. So I didn't have to add anything to it to bring out the texture. It's quite pretty. And these were just little sample pieces, which were, you know, which was good. Again, tea-stained paper. Also, this is coloured. I must have been dyeing some other things, and the plastic doily thing that I place on top of a lot of things that I dye must have been, I don't want to say polluted, but must have had a bit of colour on it, so it's transferred onto this paper too, which was quite okay. I liked it, so I thought I would just keep it on there. But again, little collages with stitching, some stamps, some lace stitched on, and some fabric. That's a fabric piece from a bag. I don't even know who's, it's like a shopping bag, you know. And that's the rest. There's some of it there, a strip of it there as well, stitched on across a couple of pages. And again, waxed linen thread and a little handle through a hole. So that's that one. And you can stay out as well. Now this, I broke down a shop bell for the spring that is normally inside for a project, another project that I did online with Roxanne Evans Stout. It was such a great project. So that was just there. I just thought, that looks all right. So that can go there. And this is a tobacco tin that I also picked up from a crazy marketplace thing. This is really bashed up and quite nice. I like all this rustiness, but this is just full of things I've collected, you know, like sticks with moss on it. I don't know why I collected it, but I did. And I will use it. And the top of little, I think they're acorns, is that right? Or some sort of oak thing. And some flat stones and some beach glass. If ever I find anything interesting looking, I just pick it up, put it in my pocket. When I come home, they get chucked into a tin. And this is the tin. Well, it's a bit full now. I'll have to get another one. So that might have a book in it one day too. But until then, it'll have nature stuff in it. So here's one that I also saved. Just a box covered with textured paper and ink. And it's a little drawer. That's how the box was. I can't remember what was in there, but it'll come to me one day. Again, tea-stained paper with little collages on them. Might add a bit more to these ones. They need a focal point, I think. Or, well, we'll see how I go. But I quite like those as well. There's not any foiling on these, which is nice to have a bit of a break from that, I guess. But there is, you know, like tea bags. That's a tea bag there, stuck on over some joss paper, over some book page. So they're sort of crammed in there. Is that the end? Must be stuck down in there, yeah. So that's that one. And again, not too over the top with the the foil. That can sort of get a bit much sometimes, I guess. But you can just put back in there. And this is a box that I actually made because I needed something to fit in here with this. So I made a box just from card or, you know, packing stuff, and covered it with some more textured paper and picked out the detail with, I think it's like a, what's it called, rub on, a gold, I can't think of the name of it. Smells like shoe polish, and just rub it, and it's picked up the texture, which is kind of nice. But I didn't do anything with the bottom, just painted it. Okay, so here we are with this one. This is also just scraps, leftover scraps from different projects and some text as background. So it's probably not finished, but again, stitched together. These are those, I think it's, is it Caddy or Cardi or something? There's an H in there somewhere. Paper, and it just dyes so beautifully, or stains so beautifully with tea and other colours. But this is just ordinary paper, and this is a scrap from a project or from a class that I did a couple of years ago that I still have so much paper left over. And maps. This is a thumbnail for a painting I was wanting to do that didn't sort of come to fruition, so that's all been ripped up and used as collage. Space to write things down if that's what you're into. That's the rest of that thumbnail there, that one. And another map. And this here is a piece of, from the last book, I think, just a leftover piece of what had happened with the tea staining and being had that put over the top of it, and the colour transferred into the paper, which I don't think I could repeat doing, because I mean, it is quite pretty, but I could never repeat it. And this is just some things that I had lying around in the collage box or the scrap box that I decided, oh, there is a bit of foil on that, but it's been a while. So there's that. And just the hole in this one, I haven't put the little tie through yet. So there's those. And this is the lid of this, I think, which is basically this one here, but one, you know, same sort of thing, but one is the lid and one is the other. Now this I picked up at a not a sale, like a fair, church fair, where some people had emptied out their shed, and I thought I really like just how that looks. I don't know that I would use it for anything other than just, you know, wow, doesn't that look nice, you know. So that sort of filled up that space. I know it's not a book, but it is sort of, you know, the feel of what I wanted here. Now, have I done anything in this? Yes, probably. What is this? Another little tin. Well, I haven't joined these together yet because, and it's just basically the same as what is in there, and it's that same paper again that picked up some of the dye from a previous thing. Now this, I didn't join it to this one yet because if I put any collages on these pages, may not all fit in together if it is attached. See, that's the back of the wallpaper sheet. If it's attached to that, it might not all fit in if these all have collage on. So I thought I would not attach it yet. I'll wait and see what I do with those pages that are in there in the longer piece. I can always attach it later. That's that one. And this is a cigarette box from way back when. It was all painted white. And I think I got this at the same place I got this because it had like little screws or tacks or something in it. Ah, yes, here we go again. Same thing. Again with a bit of stitching down the sides. But again, has not been decorated. It's just sort of been put in there to remind me that it's going to have that book in it. And hopefully, if I do decorate the pages, it will still fit. I mean, I can always cut a bit off, but that's not the point. So that's that. You can go back in there. You can go back over here. You can live there. That's you. And that's you. And I leave this space here because, and you live there. I've got to put you back in there, so I'll take you out so I don't forget. And you guys can live down here. Now, can you fit? What's happened? Okay, good. You're in. So, when this is back in here, there's a space here to accommodate this little clipboard that I made, because there's also a pocket. I'll just pull this down a little so you can see there's a pocket here, and that's where this clipboard lives, in there, like that. And because it's got the bulldog clip at the top here, when I fold it down, it nestles nicely in between those other two boxes and just sits flat and shut. So the clipboard is really just a piece of card that's covered with scrapbook paper, and these are the tea bags that I used to dye the paper. Now they've all been stitched together at the top, just some old ones. I quite like the way they are when they're dry, and they're so kind of delicate and very soft. So I've stamped on them all just with some text from different stamps that I have. Couldn't even remember what half of these were, although this particular stamp I do remember because it is from my calligraphy teacher. She did some beautiful French calligraphy and turned it into a stamp, and I bought one. So that's that one. I think about her quite often when I use that stamp. This one here is from somewhere else. I couldn't tell you where, but anyway. So there's lots of different languages in here and different fonts. And there's a few blank pages at the back, but that's also, I must have taken the tea bags out of the tea bath and plopped them down in some dye. So it's picked up some colour, which is fine. So those will just stay in here, in a little pocket that I created. And that's that. So the box was also covered with wallpaper and painted, and then I just wiped over it while the paint was still wet. I wiped over it to take some of the paint off the tops, and that, just to give it a bit of an aged sort of metallic look. And these here I took off the wallpaper books because they all have these great big chunky corner things. So I took them off and used them on there. Did I put it on the back? No, just on the front here, on the lid and on the base. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so on the lid and on the base. There. There's no closure on the... Come back here, you. There's no closure on the box because it's currently just sitting on my shelf, but I'm very, very happy with it, and I'm so glad that I just pushed through and did it. It took me a long time, but then when you're in lockdown in Melbourne, you've got nothing but time. So thank you, Seth, for the inspiration and the ideas, and also for posting so much of your great work. I hope you like this. I do. I am so happy. I just cannot wait to actually do the class with you one day and see what different things we can do. It's a bit of a bigger project than I normally do, which is normally just my books, and it's been a bit difficult to film as well. Although thank you so much, everyone, if you've made it to the end, if you weren't too bored. I appreciate it. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell. If you hit the bell, you'll be notified when I do a next video, which, if you've been following me anyway, you'll know there's not that many. So I will try and pull my finger out a bit and get on with it. Although my husband says, why don't you just do a video every week? I said, because it takes me longer than a week to create something. But doesn't matter. Here we are. So thanks again, and take care.